Hello, book lovers. Welcome to Must Love Books. Hello, and welcome back to Must Love Books podcast. Today, I am here with Katrina Kwan, a Vancouver-based author and actress. After graduating from Acadia University in 2017 with a bachelor's in political science with honors, Kwan spent the next 6 years honing her creative skills as a freelance ghostwriter. With several ghost-written romance novels under her belt, she is ecstatic to finally be writing books under her own name. She lives in Vancouver with her husband and 2 cats, and when she isn't writing, she is desperately trying to keep her collection of houseplants alive. You can follow her on Instagram at Katrina Z. Kwan for all of her latest book updates. And today we are celebrating release day for The Last Dragon of the East. Hello, Katrina.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm so well. Thank you so much. How are you?
I am doing so well. And I just want to say congratulations. Happy release day.
Thank you so much. It's a very exciting. I'm shaking in my boots.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us about The Last Dragon of the East?
For sure. So The Last Dragon of the East is my debut adult fantasy. It basically follows a character named Sai, who is this sweetheart of a character who just wants to run his tea house and take care of his mother. And but he has a very special ability to see red threads of fate, which is a myth that's very prominent in East Asian cultures. And he has a little side hustle where he tries to help pairs get together. But at no point has he been interested in trying to find his own soulmate, because for some reason, when he looks down at his hand, his red thread of fate is actually gray and fraying, and he has no idea why. So things sort of take a drastic turn for the dramatic when he accidentally stumbles upon a very rare and potent medicine for his mother. And he somehow gets roped up in this really devious plot to hunt down the last dragon of the East. And he may or may not also stumble across his fated one in the meantime.
That sounds so fantastic. I already love the idea. The red string of fate. I have heard a little bit, and I've seen some other stories, kind of tap into this myth. Is there anything that you want to share about the original mythology where this is inspired from?
Yeah, for sure. So, funnily enough, whenever people ask me what inspired me to write this book, I was actually in the middle of reading Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. And I was in the middle of reading that, and I realized, I know a lot more about Greek mythology than I do Chinese mythology, because I'm obviously of Chinese descent, but I was born and raised in Canada. So my education has been very, very Western leaning. I know Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Roman mythology, but I could not for the life of me think of any Chinese myths that like my parents would have heard growing up, or my grandparents. And so this whole project started as a way for me to reconnect with those stories of my heritage. And I happened to stumble upon the myth of the red threads of fate. There are a couple of versions, but the one I went with is basically the way it goes is that there's this little boy and he's crossing a moon bridge, and a lunar god happened to be standing there. He taps him on the shoulder, and the god says to the little boy, "You see that girl over there? She's destined to be your soulmate." And in typical boy fashion, the kid's just like, "Ew, a girl? Cooties, gross." So he picks up a rock and throws it at the girl. It's very dramatic. And many, many years later, when he's going to ask this woman to be his wife, he notices that she has a scar on her forehead. So he's like, "How did you get that?" And the woman explains, "Well, when I was a little girl, this boy came out of nowhere and threw a rock at me." And that's it. That's the myth. I thought that was so funny and so adorable and so simple and so cute. And I was like, I could base a story off of this. And originally I wanted to do a retelling of that exact same myth, but I decided to go in a different direction where, there are so many myths so many myths that I wanted to learn about that I sort of used them as building blocks for The Last Dragon of the East. So instead of retelling them, I sort of used them as fact within this world. That sort of led to this grand adventure.
That is beautiful, truly. And honestly, it sounds like such a cute myth. I love that as a story. And it's one that you can definitely see happening as well.
Oh, for sure. It's so cute. It's so cute.
And you also recently had a novel re-release, Knives, Seasoning, and a Dash of Love.
Yes. So Knives, Seasoning, and a Dash of Love was also a debut, but it was for it's in the contemporary rom-com sphere. So I write both fantasy and romance, and I kind of switch between the two depending on how I feel that day. And it was originally released December 19th, 2023 by an indie press called Lake Country Press, but was recently re-released for second edition worldwide printing by Random House Canada.
I love that you were able to take this little story and re-release it. Like, that is so, honestly, so amazing. When I originally saw that your story was being re-released, I was immediately so proud and so happy for you. And, I had managed to get my hands on a copy within a week of the news coming out of the re-release. And I was just immediately so proud. I'm like, I don't even actually know you, but I'm immediately so proud of you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Yeah, it was a very, very exciting shift to be making.
Can you tell us about how that happened and what that process was like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it was such a whirlwind because not even a month after it had released with the indie press, an editor from Random House Canada reached out to my agent being like, hey, are you the person I should talk to about international rights for Knives? Because at the time, my indie press only had paperback and ebook rights to Knives within the United States. So this editor, her name is Amanda, and she's amazing. She's such a sweetheart. Was interested in maybe having Random House Canada produce an audiobook at the very least. And I'm like, oh my God, how could I say no to that? That'd be so cool. But as these three parties, my agent, Random House Canada, and LCP, Lake Country Press, were talking, they realized it didn't really make sense to have my book on store shelves in, let's say, Canada, the UK, and Australia, basically worldwide, was the scope that they wanted to offer, but not in the United States. Because my book, the way LCP runs, it's basically print on demand. So my book wouldn't be in stores in the United States. And it just didn't make sense that it would be available everywhere else, but not in this one very large sector of the publishing industry, if that makes sense. So ultimately, between the three of them, they sort of negotiated to have the rights to Knives revert back to me that Random House could then purchase, basically. So that's how they acquired the rights to Knives, Seasoning, and Dash of Love for second edition publishing.
That is incredible.
I know. Oh, yeah. And apparently she heard about my book because who should not be named, Kate Crane, the whole Kate Crane.
Yeah, that whole thing was...
Yeah, it was crazy. But basically, Knives wound up sort of being, I'd like to describe it as like drive-by, where a couple of those fake accounts found their way to my book. And they didn't one-star them. Like, it wasn't a review bomb, but they were reviewed at 3s, 2s. And it was like, oh, my little indie book has somehow been wrapped up in this situation. And that's sort of how my editor heard about my book. She ended up picking up a copy to support it, wound up loving it so much that she decided to reach out to see if audiobook rights. And then that's how things kind of transpired.
What a crazy out there kind of story. Like, you can't even make this stuff up.
No, you really can't. Everything happens for a reson, I guess.
I guess so.
And someone up there is looking out for me.
Definitely. Yeah. You got someone on your side somewhere.
But yeah.
Wow. That's crazy that it came out of that scandal.
So I'm obviously upset that it happened, but I'm very grateful at how everything's panned out. Super,
Yeah.
super great. Yeah,
The response was wonderful, and I'm glad that there was a lot of support from the community for you
absolutely.
and the other authors that were affected in
Mhm.
this, and it seems like things are moving on up from that, which as it should
Mhm.
be.
Yeah, I'm just so grateful. That's all I can say. Yeah.
I mean, that just blows my mind. My
Crazy,
mind is
right?
blown. It's
Oh.
crazy.
Also, go check out Knife Seasoning and a Dash of Love, available in a bookstore near you.
Exactly. Yes, go pick it
Mhm.
up. It is now available, no longer print on demand. Now it's from one of the biggest publishers in the world,
Oh my god.
which is incredible, and I am so proud of you.
Oh my gosh.
So, do you have any new works that you are working on?
Yeah, for sure. I'm currently working on book two in quotes because book two for the Last Dragon of the East. They're both standalones, so you can read them out of order by themselves, but they sort of exist. My friends like to joke it's within the same cinematic universe, same literary universe. So my next project, which is coming out sometime in 2025, is called The Legend of the Nine-Tailed Fox. And the best way for me to summarize it is basically after a hunt gone wrong, a nine-tailed fox must work with the hunter who banished her to hell to escape. So it's sort of an enemies to lovers fantasy featuring lots of demons and monsters, and it's going to be cool.
I was already in because it is the next Katrina Kwan. However, you said enemies to lovers, and I'm like, I need it now.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It's
Let's
coming.
go. I love that. So I am actually going to have us play a little bit of a game.
Okay.
So we are going to do a game, Would You Rather, Bookish Edition.
Ooh, okay.
And I'll present you with a couple of scenarios, and you have to pick which of the two you would prefer. And not all of these are necessarily uh, the best choices.
Okay.
So
I'll do my best.
we're going to start off real deep into it. When you're reading, would you rather have a main character death or a love interest death?
Oh, no. Hmm. Well, let's just say I'm not shy about killing off my characters. I could go with a main character death just because I'm sure the author will come up with a way to bring them back or something. Um, I just have to have faith. Whereas if the love interest dies, it's just like, you know what? I don't know. That's a hard one. I'm going to say main character death just because I'm flipping a coin, and either way, it's going to break my heart.
Exactly. Like we're crying either way. So,
Exactly.
so would you rather read a book that is missing the middle chapters or read a book that is missing the first and last chapters?
Oh, no. I feel like the first chapter is where you set your premise, but the middle chapters are where you get all the juicy details. And I could maybe fill in the blanks if I had just the middle chapters. So I'll say that just because I know some stories can start right in the middle of the action. And it's
Yeah.
sort of like you have just the middle chunk anyway.
Would
That's my
you
reason.
rather? I love that. Would you rather read only one book a year, but remember everything, or read 100 books a year and remember none of it?
Well, I don't read that much to begin with. I'm trying to be better. Like every year, I'm like, I'm going to read so many books this year, but I never get around to it. So probably one book a year and remember everything. Because if you're just reading for quantity's sake, but not remembering anything, what's the point? You know?
Right. And imagine reading like the best book in the world and immediately forgetting everything about it.
Ugh, wouldn't be worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you rather never be able to finish a series or never reread a book that you have read before, including your favorites.
This is going to sound really bad, but I rarely reread books anyway. And also, I rarely ever finish series. So I feel like.
So you're actually already there.
I feel like I'm already there. It's a toss up. Yeah, just because of how little I read, maybe never finishing a series. I'm a bad author. I don't read that much. Oh no.
This isn't Would You Rather. This is actually just describing your life.
This is just my life. How did you know?
We're calling you out here today, I guess.
Oh no.
Would you rather be stuck on a deserted island without a book, or be stuck in a library that's full of books in a language you can't read?
I would rather be stuck in a library with a language I can't read, because if I'm desperate enough, I will learn the language.
And maybe you'll actually finally get through your list.
I know.
Now that you've got nothing else to do, you'll learn a new language and read your TBR.
Staring at me. I feel so guilty. Shelf full of books I haven't read. Oh, God.
That is too funny. We are going to go through one more. Mm-hmm. And for this one, it is, and this one's going to be kind of funny for you. Would you rather not be able to buy any new books until you've finished all the ones that you have, or never be allowed to read any of the books you currently own?
Oh, the first one. Because I've been trying to do that anyway. We're like, every time I pass by the bookstore, I'm like, no, I have books at home. I'm going to finish all of the books on my shelf first, and then I'll buy something. But then I don't read anything. So,
so really, you
never-ending
shouldn't
loop.
be allowed to read, or you shouldn't be allowed to buy anything.
I shouldn't. Someone take my credit card away. I need to stop.
Yeah, it never actually works that way, though, does it?
No, unfortunately.
So I'm going to, that was
so fun.
Would you rather? I love just throwing those questions at some of my authors here. And I say some of my authors because once you are on this show, you now belong to me, I guess.
Okay.
You're now mine.
I need 4 square meals and 2 naps a day. Just letting you know.
You know what? Honestly, I'm right there with you on that. That's
okay.
Great.
Excellent.
We'll live that life together. Absolutely. So we are going to dive in a little bit on your writing process. I know that we talked about your inspirations of the Chinese mythology in your adult fantasy novel. So I'd like to hear a little bit about your writing process. Are you someone who outlines and plots and plans, or are we flying by the seat of our pants here?
So that's a very interesting question, because I used to be solely outlines, because you mentioned before that I'm a ghostwriter. And as a ghostwriter, I had really, really tight turnarounds. My clients expected like a new contemporary book, contemporary romance a month. So there was really no time to finagle it. I had to follow the outline chapter by chapter, get it done. But for my own projects, I find that I'm more of a hybrid of the two, between a plotter and a pantser, because I feel like it's really important to have an outline, to have a roadmap, so you know where you're going. But sometimes when I'm writing, I can kind of instinctually tell, oh, this is really boring. Or, if I, as an author, am kind of struggling with a section, I know for a fact my readers are going to feel the exact same way, like, oh, this is boring as well. So sometimes, even though I'm still following an overall plot, I know point A to point B, if I can think of a little twist to throw in there, I'll off the seat of my pants, I'll throw it in to just spice things up. So I'd say I'm kind of a combination of both.
I love that. So can we talk about your ghostwriting?
Yeah.
I love the idea about that. I want to hear everything that you're able to share. Mm-hmm. And how do you get into something like that?
So I kind of stumbled. It's really cool. After I graduated from university, I worked for a year in a bank. And while I loved the people there and the employees there, and it was a really, really fun time, I knew wasn't what I wanted to do. So I started sort of looking around online for freelance writing jobs, primarily in the mommy blog sphere. I was just writing articles at the time. So I would write like top 10 products to soothe your baby kind of thing. And, it kind of paid pennies on the dollar, but you got to start somewhere. But eventually I came across a client who referred me to another client who happened to be in the ghostwriting romance sphere. I'm like, oh, I can do that. I have a very healthy obsession with romance books. I think I know the beats well enough. I could probably do this. And so I ended up writing my first book for them. They loved it. They gave me another book and then another book and then another book. Eventually they referred me to another client. And it sort of grew from there, where I landed a client and I worked with them for several years, writing just basically a book a month, several series, all under various pen names. And it was a lot of fun until I finally found the time to write my own thing and get it published.
I love that. I always thought that ghostwriting was super interesting. And I mean, first off, calling it ghostwriting like already gives it such a cool edge.
Vibes, yeah.
Exactly. Like the vibes are really there for it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really happy that, we were able to talk about that on here, because I always, wondered, like, how do people get into that? How do you find clients? And, is it really worth the work going into it? And it kind of sounds like it's a really good way to kind of hone your skills and practice writing, and the focus on deadlines that you mentioned as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay.
No, it's gone. Whatever I thought, it's gone. Sorry.
You know what? I have done that several times.
It's a brain fog kind of day.
I feel that. We're in the middle of a weather transition over here, and the brain has not been braining the way it should be.
Caught between winter and spring. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like we literally it was 65 and sunny, and then the next day it was a blizzard.
Oh.
Like,
fun.
Are you kidding me? So fun. This is great. I love it. Midwest of the US. This
keeps you on your toes.
Fantastic. Yeah, we have had like multiple weather patterns, like seasons, all within like a 72-hour period of going through every single season.
That's crazy.
Like it'll rain, and then it'll be 70, and then it'll snow, and then it's like, well, we are under a tornado watch now.
Oh gosh. Oh no.
Yeah, it's always one thing or another. Let's go ahead and talk about the vibes of Knives.
The vibes. Lots of yelling, but it's sexy. Does that make sense?
It does. That is too funny.
I finished watching The Bear quite a while ago, but for like a week after, anytime my husband needed help in the kitchen, I'd be like, yes, chef.
That's great. It's almost like Gordon Ramsay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched The Bear yet, but it is on my list.
It's good, but it's stressful in the best way.
Stressful in the best way. That's good.
I don't know how else to just, it's really well done.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us more about the plot of Knives Seasoning and a Dash of Love?
For sure. So Knives Seasoning and the Dash of Love follows the two main characters, Alexander Chen, who's the head chef of Le Rouge. He runs it with an iron fist. Mistakes won't be tolerated. He'll throw you out with the trash, no hesitation. He's a perfectionist, but he's also suffering from pretty severe burnout. And then we've also got his counterpart, his sunshine, his sweetheart, Eden Monroe, who is a sort of not a culinary prodigy, but she's definitely got skills. But she also never finished culinary school. So she kind of lies / weasels her way into a sous chef position at La Rouge, and hijinks ensues.
Hijinks ensues with yelling, and it's attractive.
Yeah.
I love that. So we've got a grumpy sunshine and enemies to lovers. And I saw that face. Do we
Well, I know some people were like, oh, this is enemies to lovers. I personally don't see it that way. I see it more as like just skimming rivals to lovers, very barely. But I do know some people were kind of going into the book expecting enemies to lovers, but it's not quite. So I want to settle that expectation for a lot of people. Just in case. I don't want them to get the wrong idea.
You know what? Rivals to lovers, I think, is still perfectly valid as a trope. Definitely.
Absolutely.
It's like a sub trope to the enemies to lovers. Yeah.
For sure. A little less intense.
Do either of your other novels follow any kind of specific tropes that listeners may be interested in?
I would say for The Last Dragon of the East, we've definitely got Grumpy Sunshine, except Sai is 100% the sunshine. He gives off golden retriever energy, is what I would say.
Aww.
He's just trying his best, man. I really put him through the ringer. Another trope would be obviously like soulmates, fated pairs. We've got lots of adventure. I don't know if that's a trope. Wow, it's not coming to me. I had it all written down. It's not. What else? What else could I say is The Last Dragon of the East? You'll just have to read it. I don't know.
You'll just have to read it. Exactly.
Yeah. And the one I'm working on now, The Legend of the Nine-Tailed Fox, is 100% enemies to lovers.
Oh, and it's, yes, I'm in.
It's a lot more intense. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but I think The Legend of the Nine-Tailed Fox is a lot more intense than The Last Dragon of the East, which is saying something because The Last Dragon of the East is a roller coaster ride in and of itself. Again, you're just going to have to wait and read it, but it's 100% enemies to lovers. They're both badasses, so it's going to be fun to read.
Oh, I am so in, and I absolutely cannot wait.
Yay!
Oh, that sounds so wonderful. So I have been perusing your Instagram because I love the stuff that you share. Currently, you're focusing on Last Dragon of the East, and you have this graphic image that you made on here, a not so serious character intro. I would love for you to give us a not so serious character intro for some of your characters.
Sure. Like all of my characters or just Sai and Jin?
You know what? Do all of them.
Do all of them. Okay.
We'll keep you busy.
I had to pull up my Instagram post. I will admit I was very sick and hopped up on antibiotics when I made this, but I was like, oh, I need content to promote this book. So let's just have some fun. So don't take this seriously. It's 100% for the memes, but this is how I would describe the characters. Sai has quote unquote baby girl energy. He's just trying his best. He's a golden retriever. He wants to always do good, but he exists in a world that doesn't always allow him to make the easiest choices. That's just life. He's 100% a jokester. He's the kind of dude who, in very uncomfortable situations, will try to make you laugh, even if it's not the right place or time. He's a mama's boy, because this whole adventure starts because he's trying to find medicine, basically, to take care of her. He 100% has a heart of gold, and he can't fight for shit. One of my beta readers was like, in this pivotal action scene, was like, oh man, Sai's kind of useless, huh? And I'm like, that's the point. That's the point. He's just a normal man in this crazy world. He's a tea house owner. He wants to tell stories and serve you cookies. He doesn't know how to hold a sword. And yeah, that's just him existing throughout the book pretty much the whole time. And then we've got basically Sai's fated one is angry, but for all the right reasons. She's closed off and cold, and she bites. If that you'll understand, she bites, and she's a hoot and a half. And in many ways, they're perfect soulmates because they kind of balance each other out, if that makes sense. Where he's always happy and she's kind of like much too serious. But you'll love them both. But their circumstances are kind of strange, and you'll have to read the book for that.
I love that.
Let's see. Maybe I can do one for knives, where Alexander is basically just an Asian Gordon Ramsay. His favorite pastime is sharpening his knives. You could tell him a joke, but he probably takes like a week to understand it, and then he'll start laughing. It just takes him that long to process something funny.
Must allow 3 to 5 business days for processing.
And I think Eden's a very frugal character. She always has the right thing to say, and she gives the best hugs.
Aw.
Yeah, that's how I would describe them.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
So I love how we have a little bit of a grumpy sunshine in these two books, but they're reversed. They are reversals of each other. I love that.
Oh, but I hope you look forward to it. And the Nine-Tailed Fox, they're both grumpy.
Ooh, so double grumpy.
Double grumpy, and I love them.
Grumpy. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait. I am so excited.
Oh, me too.
So is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners today?
Please buy my book. The Last Dragon of the East is out today. Please buy a copy. I'd appreciate it.
I love that. Yes, we are begging you, both of us here. I'll beg you too. Please.
Yeah. No, it feels kind of, can I say, self-masturbatory?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay. It feels self-masturbatory to be like, please, I just need to sell 5,000 copies in my first week to hit New York Times bestseller. And I know it feels kind of cringe for me to be like, help a girl out. But it has been my dream.
Isn't that what we all want?
We all want that. It's been my dream since I was a little girl.
For those, if you're writing, which I am a writer as well, that's what we want. And I don't think it should be cringy to say that. Yeah. Tell people what you want and go for it.
Please help me become a New York Times bestseller. It's been a childhood dream since forever. And I swear I will do my best and write amazing stories as I can to share with you all, because this is what I love to do, and I hope to do it for a very long time. So yeah, please and thank you. I appreciate it.
Please and thank you. And thank you everyone for who is listening today. We are celebrating the release of The Last Dragon of the East by Katrina Kwan. And please go buy a copy. Let's get this girl on the New York Times bestseller list. It is every author's dream, and she is one who absolutely deserves it.
Oh, thank you. Oh. I'm blushing.
Blushing over here. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
And this has been Must Love Books Podcast. Thank you everyone for listening. This has been Must Love Books. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon under @Must Love Books Podcast. Thank you and happy reading.